This is Trend Following Radio, where great thinking comes alive. Nobel Prize winners, legendary traders, best-selling authors, and the pros that know what drive us irrational human beings. I am your host, Michael Covel. Not filtered, raw, honest. That's my passion. American presidential election debate number 2. I want to talk about that today. No, not really. And I'm not going to talk about that. That's not my purpose today. If anything, I did watch the debate. It inspired me to go where I'm going to go today on this podcast. Because what I want to talk about is basic human liberty. And I want to talk about it in the context of words. Great insights from great minds over the centuries. Because sometimes, in the middle of all of this chaos, too many of us lose sight of what it means to be real, what it means to be independent, what it means to be a freaking human being that takes care of oneself. Because that feeling of taking care of oneself, that feeling of doing it on your own, oh sure, there's some aspect of the village and the family and all that. But once you get to a certain age, it's you. It's you deciding what type of legacy you want to leave in the limited time that you are on this planet. That's the deal. That's all we got. At least until the Silicon Valley AI guys figure out the transcendence, and then we can all exist on a hard drive somewhere forever. See my podcast episode with Robin Hanson on his newest book about that topic. Fascinating. Tangent aside on AI and transcendence, liberty. I'm going to share with you today some of my favorites, some of those pieces of insight that just jump out and make you pause and make you realize that all of the nonsense that we hear 24/7 from corporate media that is scripted by young people going down a certain direction because they're being paid a certain amount of money is all nonsense. What we want is the true essence of life, the true essence of spirit, the true essence of how things should be in a perfect world. Because if we don't know how things should be, how the hell are we ever going to get there? And we might not ever get there. But for some of us, and I'm one of them, knowing the right way, even if no one else goes along with you, knowing the right way is special. Knowing the right way is important. Even if all of your friends and family are completely drinking the Kool-Aid and don't give a shit, if you know the right way, that's important. My first one, courtesy of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States of America. When government fears the people, there is liberty. When the people fear the government, there is tyranny. I think it's pretty safe to say around the world, people's fear of government is much higher than the government fearing the people. The people are on the wrong side of this deal currently. I can only hope the script gets flipped in the years to come. I don't hold out that hope. I don't know that that will ever happen. But it's good to at least know where we are. And where we are right now is a lot of government bureaucracy, a lot of absolute power controlled in the hands of very few people lording over the masses. I want to offer another book recommendation at this point in time because I think it fits perfectly with where I'm going today. Ed Seykota-'s Gavopoly, a fantastic read, a fantastic premise, thesis that Ed has put out. Back into the insights. Government's first duty is to protect the people, not run their lives. That was Ronald Reagan. Not run their lives. Why do you want anyone to run your life? Why do you wake up in the morning and think that there is somebody out there that can give you a goodie without you doing anything? The simple act of a vote, the simple act of a riot, the simple act of a protest, and you get a goodie? That's your effort? To complain, to whine? No, we should all stand up and say, this is merit. Now look, this is my perfect world. This is how I see things. This is what I want. Will we ever get there? Who the hell knows? Sure would be nice. Again from Reagan. The most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Too many people forget what the government is. Generally, people that couldn't make it in the private sector. Oh, I know, there's exceptions, okay? I get it. But I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area, and I've seen enough of it. It's generally a certain lazy mindset of people that couldn't really hack it in the outside world. And they take the comfy confines of the guaranteed job that you can never be fired from. There are tons of people in public service that are very smart, very successful, great leaders. But there is a huge number of incompetent fools. That contradiction bothers me, and I'm sure it will bother me till the day I die. Winston Churchill, the best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter. You bet it is. Because right now, many voters in the United States of America think the Russians have hacked our election and are controlling the elections of the United States of America. Here's a heads up, people. If you happen to think that the Russians control the elections in the United States of America, you have ceased to have a functioning mind. Let me phrase it another way. If you believe that, the other way, you're stupid. This comes from Ayn Rand. We are fast approaching the stage of the ultimate inversion. The stage where the government is free to do anything it pleases, while the citizens may act only by permission, which is the stage of the darkest periods of human history, the stage of rule by brute force. Safe to say, many places around the world, we are already at that stage. Hard to argue. Lord Acton, a very classic, very famous 3-word quotation that you should never forget. Socialism means slavery. You are not equal to anyone else. You're not better than anyone else, but you're not equal. The world in its best form, especially amongst human beings, should be about merit. It should not be about forcing equality via government edict. That is a horrible, horrible progression that we've arrived at in current day, modern day humanity. A terrible place to be in. Equality by edict of government. Effort, immaterial. Effort, irrelevant. You worked hard and your neighbor didn't do anything and sat on his butt. It doesn't make a difference. By order of edict, you are equal. Just as Robert Jackson, it is not the function of the government to stop the citizen from falling into error. It is the function of the citizen to keep the government from falling into error. Yeah, if you're a moron and you buy 20 subprime houses and you go underwater and you go bankrupt, don't come tell me it was the bank's fault. Oh, sure, no doubt during the Great Recession, the banks were scams, and they probably are still scams today. But if you participate, if you take the risk, if you think you're going to get in on the free money and it blows up in your face, you're responsible for that, no one else. Kurt Vonnegut offers this. What has allowed so many psychopathic personalities to rise so high in corporations and now in government is that they are so decisive. They are going to do something every f***ing day and they're not afraid. Unlike normal people, they are never filled with doubts for the simple reason that they don't give a f*** what happens next. Mobilize the reserves, privatize the public schools, attack Iraq, cut healthcare, tap everyone's phone, f*** habeas corpus in the Sierra Club, and in these times, kiss my ass. There is a tragic flaw in our precious Constitution, and I don't know what can be done to fix it. This is it. Only nutcases want to be president. A little controversial there, a little political, but overall I would say Kurt hit the liberty point pretty square in the bullseye. Thomas Jefferson back in with a great one. Governments constantly choose between telling lies and fighting wars, with the end result always being the same. One will always lead to the other. I mean, that's hundreds of years ago. Hundreds of years ago. We are in the age of information right now. Everything flows. We should be able to nip it in the bud when it comes to wars, especially with nukes everywhere and mutually assured destruction. I love this one from Edward R. Murrow. A nation of sheep will beget a government of wolves. A nation of sheep. I'll tell you what, I don't think a day goes by where I start to wonder, what percentage of the population do I really feel comfortable with having dinner, having a beer, sitting down with and talking? I have to think that the vast majority of people have given up and accepted their lot as sheep in the pen, in the cage, waiting for someone to put the gruel in the bucket to eat. Now, I know deep down those people don't want to be that. But once they are that, hell, I don't want to be around you. I want to go the other direction. H.L. Mencken. The most dangerous man to any government is the man who is able to think things out for himself without regard to the prevailing superstitions and taboos. Almost inevitably, he comes to the conclusion that the government he lives under is dishonest, insane, and intolerable. That might be the one. I don't know if I'm going to top that one today. That might really sum me up. Can we put that on my tombstone right there? I have to read it again. The most dangerous man to any government is the man who is able to think things out for himself without regard to the prevailing superstitions and taboos. Almost inevitably, he comes to the conclusion that the government he lives under is dishonest, insane, and intolerable. Notice, this isn't about one party or two parties. It's about government. That's the issue. Government. You might be sitting out there right now thinking that your person on the left is the savior, and you're on the right and you think your person is the savior. The reality is, the left and the right, they're on the same damn team, the government team, and they're not on your team. I know a certain significant number of people, the majority, will not share my belief. It takes a certain amount of getting beat up and kicked in the ass to understand that there are no parties, there are only government. I can't offer the definitive outside reading source on understanding government and all of its evils, but you might find that the works of Ayn Rand will start to steer you in the right direction. This next one comes courtesy of Bill Maher. It shouldn't be a bragging point that I don't get involved in politics, as if that makes you somehow cleaner. No, that makes you derelict of duty in a republic. Liars and panderers in government would have a much harder time of it if so many people didn't insist on their right to remain ignorant and blindly agreeable. Bill makes a great point, but I also think that the system in its current day form is much bigger than a vote. There is so much corporate power, so much entrenched government power at the upper echelons. I'm not so sure the average voter makes a difference anymore. If you look at the United States election in 2016 and you read just a handful of WikiLeaks emails that have been released, the difference between what happens in public and what happens in private is clear as day. And these are the people that control the system. One more short one, and then I'm going to read a long passage that I really love. Benjamin Franklin. They who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. That really sums up the last 15 years, doesn't it? We've given up a tremendous amount of liberty to have safety. And I don't see the safety. All I see is fear. Fear on top of fear that expands and expounds. fear that never ends. In a perfect world, we would put the fear aside and let liberty prevail. This last passage that I'm going to read is a little bit longer. It's right in the sweet spot of where I am every day and where you should be every day as well when it comes to money. Because money is not evil. No way, no how. Money is lifeblood. Circa 1957, Ayn Rand, Francisco Diaconia, from her book, Atlas Shrugged. So you think that money is the root of all evil? Said Francisco Diaconia. Have you ever asked what is the root of money? Money is a tool of exchange, which cannot exist unless there are goods produced and men able to produce them. Money is the material shape of the principle that men who wish to deal with one another must deal by trade and give value for value. Money is not the tool of the moochers who claim your product by tears, or of the looters who take it from you by force. Money is made possible by the men who produce. Is this what you consider evil? When you accept money in payment for your effort, you do so only on the conviction that you will exchange it for the product of the effort of others. It is not the moochers or the looters who give value to money. Not an ocean of tears, not all the guns in the world can transform those pieces of paper in your wallet into bread you will need to survive tomorrow. Those pieces of paper, which should have been gold, are a token of honor, your claim upon the energy of the men who produce. Your wallet is your statement of hope that somewhere in the world around you there are men who will not default on that moral principle, which is the root of money. Is this what you consider evil? Have you ever looked for the root of production? Take a look at an electric generator and dare tell yourself that it was created by the muscular effort of unthinking brutes. Try to grow a seed of wheat without the knowledge left to you by men who had to discover it for the first time. Try to obtain your food by means of nothing but physical motions, and you will learn that man's mind is the root of all the goods produced and all of the wealth that has ever existed on earth. But you say that money is made by the strong at the expense of the weak. What strength do you mean? It is not the strength of guns or muscles. Wealth is the product of man's capacity to think. Then is money made by the man who invents a motor at the expense of those who did not invent it? Is money made by the intelligent at the expense of the fools? By the able at the expense of the incompetent? By the ambitious at the expense of the lazy? Money is made before it can be looted or mooched, made by the effort of every honest man, each to the extent of his ability. An honest man is one who knows that he cannot consume more than he has produced. To trade by means of money is the code of the men of goodwill. Money rests on the axiom that every man is the owner of his mind and his effort. Money allows no power to prescribe the value of your effort except the voluntary choice of the man who is willing to trade you his effort in return. Money permits you to obtain for your goods and your labor that which they are worth to the men who buy them, but no more. Money permits no deals except those to mutual benefit by the unforced judgment of the traders. Money demands of you the recognition that men must work for their own benefit, not for their own injury, for their gain, not their loss. The recognition that they are not the beasts of burden born to carry the weight of your misery, that you must offer them values, not wounds, that the common bond among men is not the exchange of suffering, but the exchange of goods. Money demands that you sell not your weakness to men's stupidity, but your talent to their reason. It demands that you buy not the shoddiest they offer, but the best that your money can find. And when men live by trade with reason, not force, as their final arbiter, it is the best product that wins, the best performance, the man of the best judgment and the highest ability, and the degree of a man's productivity is the degree of his reward. This is the code of existence whose tool and symbol is money. Is this what you consider evil? But money is only a tool. It will take you wherever you wish, but it will not replace you as the driver. It will give you the means for the satisfaction of your desires, but it will not provide you with desires. Money is the scourge of the men who attempt to reverse the law of causality, the men who seek to replace the mind by seizing the products of the mind. Money will not purchase happiness for the man who has no concept of what he wants. Money will not give him a code of values if he's evaded the knowledge of what to value, and it will not provide him with a purpose if he's evaded the choice of what to seek. Money will not buy intelligence for the fool, or admiration for the coward, or respect for the incompetent. The man who attempts to purchase the brains of his superiors to serve him, with his money replacing his judgment, ends up becoming the victim of his inferiors. The men of intelligence desert him, but the cheats and frauds come flocking to him, drawn by the law which he has not yet discovered, that no man may be smaller than his money. Is this the reason why you call it evil? Only the man who does not need it is fit to inherit wealth. The man who would make his own fortune no matter where he started. If an heir is equal to his money, it serves him. If not, it destroys him. But you look on and you cry that money corrupted him. Did it? Or did he corrupt his money? Do not envy a worthless heir. His wealth is not yours, and you would have done no better with it. Do not think that it should have been distributed among you. Loading the world with 50 parasites instead of one would not bring back the dead virtue which was the fortune. Money is a living power that dies without its root. Money will not serve the mind that cannot match it. Is this the reason why you call it evil? Money is your means of survival. The verdict you pronounce upon the source of your livelihood is the verdict you pronounce upon your life. If the source is corrupt, you have damned your own existence. Did you get your money by fraud? By pandering to men's vices or men's stupidity? By catering to fools in the hope of getting more than your ability deserves? By lowering your standards? By doing what you despise for purchasers you scorn? If so, then your money will not give you a moment's or a penny's worth of joy. That all the things you buy will become not a tribute to you, but a reproach, not an achievement, but a reminder of shame. Then you will scream that money is evil. Evil because it would not pinch hit for your self-respect? Evil because it would not let you enjoy your depravity? Is this the root of your hatred of money? Money will always remain an effect and refuse to replace you as the cause. Money is the product of virtue, but it will not give you virtue, and it will not redeem your vices. Money will not give you the unearned, neither in matter nor in spirit. Is this the root of your hatred of money? Run for your life from any man who tells you that money is evil. That sentence is the leper's bell of an approaching looter. So long as men live together on earth and need means to deal with one another, their only substitute, if they abandon money, is the muzzle of a gun. But money demands of you the highest virtues, if you wish to make it or to keep it. Men who have no courage, pride, or self-esteem, men who have no moral sense of their right to their money and are not willing to defend it as they defend their life, men who apologize for being rich, will not remain rich for long. They are the natural bait for the swarms of looters that stay under rocks for centuries, but come crawling out at the first smell of the man who begs to be forgiven for the guilt of owning wealth. They will hasten to relieve him of his guilt and of his life as he deserves. I love this speech. I'm not going to read it in its entirety. It's great, the full length, just read it. But I want to sum up with a classic concluding paragraph from this speech. If you ask me to name the proudest distinction of Americans, I would choose the fact that they were the people who created the phrase to make money. No other language or nation had ever used these words before. Men had always thought of wealth as a static quantity to be seized, begged, inherited, shared, looted, or obtained as a favor. Americans were the first to understand that wealth has to be created. The words to make money hold the essence of human morality. Words from 1957. And I think in 2016, we'd be hard-pressed to say that we still live under that ideal. I'm not so sure we do. When you have 50% of the United States of America receiving transfer payments, welfare payments, when you have over 70% of Americans with less than $1,000 under their name, we're no longer a country of money. Something else has happened. Something that's not so pretty. Something that is not going in a trend line of any productive direction. We're just not. And in this day, this age, where people want to group together so much, they want to team up, elect their guy, elect their girl, you sort of miss the point. You're not really on a team. It's you. It's just you. You have to figure out the way to get outside of the tentacles of this system. This system that wants to bleed you dry, rape you across the coals. I didn't say rake, I said rape. Because this system, and it's global, does not want you to have success. This system wants you dependent on it. Because at the top of that system is an elite power structure that just loves to lord over you. Now look, if Americans were not 50% on welfare, if Americans had money in the bank, people could rightfully say, Mike, you sound like a conspiracy theory nut job. You're saying these elites control everything. When people have no money, and that was Ayn Rand's point, when people have no money, what are they left with? Absolutely nothing. They're hooked up to the matrix, the feeding tube, waiting for their nourishment every day. That's a scary group of people to be up against. That's scary competition. In fact, the point that I make right now perhaps explains subconsciously why people love zombie movies. Zombie movies are essentially watching people that have no control, that have given up, given over. They make no sense to me. I think it's one of the most bizarre forms of entertainment there is. But perhaps because I'm not in that mind frame, that's why I don't get it. Maybe if you are connected to the government every month for your nourishment, maybe if you have absolutely no money in the bank, a zombie movie is perfectly entertaining because you actually view yourself as a zombie. It's you against the world. Sure, starting out, as I mentioned, it's the village, it's the family, friends. But at a certain point in time, it's you. You can't trust the system, you can only trust you. It's you making decisions, you knowing how the system works, and you desiring to win. And my God, if you think I'm entirely crazy, if you think the things that I've talked about today are too much, turn me off. I'm just going to drive you nuts. I'm going to make you crazy because I'm never going to stop. I'm like the virus that hopefully spreads. I'm the disease that hopefully spreads up your leg. I'm gangrene. That's my drive. I'm here to spread a message. And if you don't want it, man, you got to go away. You got to go find something else to do. Hook back up to the matrix completely. Put the VR glasses on. Stop paying attention to reason. Get back to that world of feelings. Because that's what you know you really want. You just want feelings. You just want to feel good. Get rid of the logic, get rid of the reason, and turn me off. I see a time when those awake will understand how to make money in up, down, and surprise markets. Whether new trader or experienced, college student or financial advisor, protecting against a crash or just trying to make a lot of money, Trend Following offers everyone an answer in uncertain times. To get started immediately, send me an email, michael@covel.com, I will send you the right trend following steps to take along with my free video. But if you want to buy and hold, trust the government and trust Wall Street, this is absolutely not for you.